along with an important practice, at least within our context in a lot of different churches, would be Planning Center and like using Planning Center effectively and using all the tools it has. It's pretty crazy how many tools Planning Center has. And so Brian, who is a Planning Center guru, is going to kind of run through Planning Center with us and just show us all the different tips, tools, and the powerfulness of it.
Powerfulness. So there's lots of tips and tools and powerfulness in Planning Center. And we use Planning Center for like, it might be an overstatement. I'm just going to steal the iPad. I want you up here, man. I feel lonely if you leave. Basically, it might be an overstatement to say that we wouldn't be able to have services the way that we have them without Planning Center, but I think it would be true. Planning Center is a pretty huge part of our ministry, which is why it's a pretty huge part of the screens right now. If I can actually get it to switch over, I can control it using my magical iPad. There we go. So basically, Planning Center is just an online tool that helps us keep every part of our ministry in sync. It helps us communicate with everybody. We do that through weekly ministry emails that go out through Planning Center, our scheduling, our updates. You know, if we have a hole in our schedule or whatever, we use Planning Center to kind of help fill that and get that out early so that everyone kind of knows what's going on. We also use Planning Center for stuff like auditions. So if, you know, many guys, when you went through the audition process, we hooked you up with Planning Center and got you kind of familiarized with our rehearsal tools and that kind of stuff. We use it for even running auditions. We help, you know, it drives our tracks for practice and stuff. And we'll also use it for development. Planning Center has a lot of really cool stuff. Now that we've used it, we use it kind of holistically through our church for check-ins, through event management, all that stuff. So it allows us to do stuff like workflows where we can develop like pathways for people to help them develop. So we're kind of just dipping our toes in the water on a lot of the bigger stuff the Planning Center lets us do. But altogether, our church would look a whole lot different if it weren't for Planning Center. I would lose my mind a lot more frequently than I currently do. It also helps us coordinate. It's the thing about services is, you know, as you guys know, and if you've served in any other capacity, you're probably aware, it's not just what happens here. What happens here would sound like this, which is, well, for you guys it sounds fine, but for the people on the internet or whatever, totally silent. Because you need the tech, you need the video, we need these magical screens up on there, we need the greeters, we need the doors to be unlocked. How many of you guys dealt with that this morning when the doors were unlocked? So every ministry needs to stay coordinated. So we use Planning Center for service coordination, confirmation, declining for you guys to make sure that, you know, we know if you're going to be here, for blocking out schedule stuff, so we know when you guys are going on vacation and we know not to bug you. You know, for service details across teams, you know, I can make sure that, you know, the right lyric version of a file gets in, you know, for the screens, and that way we're all consistent. That way your stage display is the same as what's going on and what's you practice and all that stuff. And then Planning Center also helps us prepare. You know, as you guys will see when we go through, everything we do is in Planning Center, our set lists, our service flow, every little video, every little piece, so you guys can be as confident as you want. Our rehearsal materials, all the MP3s, charts, service notes, details, even stage plots. Like if you guys wanted to know what's the stage gonna look like for Sunday, you could literally go on Planning Center and see this is what the stage looks like. So we at Crossroads use Planning Center to keep everything in balance and across all of our ministries. So in general, PCO works best from a computer. It does have 2 companion apps that are pretty powerful, but the computer has all the options. So I'm going to use the computer version to kind of show you guys stuff, but there is, there's usually like a parallel on either the rehearsal app, which is called Music Stand, or the Planning Center Services app, which is the one that has all the details and planning on it. But for the most part, it works best on the computer. The web is getting better and mobile's getting better, but there's still things you can't do. So if you're rehearsing, we recommend using the Music Stand app. Music Stand app is awesome. It lets you open up full screen versions of your sheet music, lets you listen to MP3s and then have a full screen version up at the same time, which is nice. It's more difficult to do on the other app. To do that kind of stuff. It also lets you take notes on your sheet music, and those notes are persistent with you forever. So as long as you're using the same iPad, I guess, which is super nice because you can take notes on a piece of sheet music while you're rehearsing that, bring your iPad to rehearsal, you can use that with your notes while we're practicing, to kind of help, make it's nice versus, having a bunch of piece of paper and all that stuff. And then also, those notes are on your sheet music for the next time that song is scheduled. So, you're 6 months down the road, you wrote yourself a note for the drum part for this, one song. It's there on your notes when you pull it up in Music Stand. So it's super handy. And then PCO Services, which is the other app, that's the green one. The other one's blue. That's the one we use day of to keep up with the plan. It's got the best version of the service flow document. It's got like an easier way to see the notes and all that kind of stuff. So if you're going to use iOS stuff or you're going to use mobile apps, we recommend practicing with Music Stand, but having services to do like your business, like confirming, blocking out dates, taking a look at notes, that kind of stuff. So, like I said, everything has a mobile counterpart to what we're looking at here. But you might have to dig a little bit to find it. Right now we're looking at the home page. There's a couple big things on the home page, and I don't have a way to zoom in, but we're gonna look at right here. You've got my calendar on the sidebar. So the calendar is super helpful. You'll see there's two orange things that I'm a terrible person and haven't confirmed. Anything on your calendar, if you've confirmed it, it's green. If you're scheduled and it's not confirmed, it's going to be that yellow color. If you declined, it's red. If you blocked it out, it's black. So it's a great at-a-glance tool. On the mobile, there's a sidebar option. If you exit all the way out to the main menu, then there's like the three parallel lines. You click on that. That'll show that same at-a-glance, but it's really nice. It shows your schedule. It shows all the times you've been scheduled for. It shows any times you've blocked out. At the bottom, it's got your master calendar, and it also has your block out dates. So that's all there. You'll notice down there too on the sidebar, it's kind of small, but it says block out dates so that you can block out times you're on vacation or whatever. We recommend you do that. It helps us out a lot because we really don't want you guys to feel like you can't have lives outside of ministry. And it helps us if we don't schedule you over your vacations, because then you feel bad because you have to tell us no, and we don't want you to have to do that. So the other cool thing, at the bottom, you'll see it there, or on your mobile device, it's also at the bottom, it says calendar integrations. So Planning Center will sync its calendar with iCal. It'll sync its calendar with Google Sheets or Google Calendar, or whatever calendaring system you use, which is really helpful if you like to, if you're a calendar person and reminders person, keeping your calendar synced with Planning Center is really helpful. So that's all on the main page, and then on the right side, you'll see the actual plans. So the way we organize it here at Crossroads, everything's organized by campus, and then event type, and then by the service. So right now, you'll see at the top, it shows me that I'm in Vancouver campus, and then Vancouver services. If you're part of the Tuesday night ministries, that one's under Vancouver campus, and then Vancouver ministry events, and then our main events, our concerts are under Vancouver, and then events, and the auditions and other times are in there too. So if you aren't seeing what you're looking for, the best bet's to either look at your schedule or just hunt back out, because you might be in a subfolder. And we'll talk about how to change your default subfolder later on. So right now I'm in Vancouver services. You see everything's broken out, by the plans. So I've got the different weeks. It shows me on the sidebar. I've got, my, the series we're doing, some quick notes. Some of those are in bold. So anytime that you are scheduled for something, the title will be in bold to kind of help you at a glance know whether or not you're scheduled. On the mobile version, it's really cool too, because on the sidebar, there's a color bar that shows whether or not you've declined or accepted. So if it's bold and green, you've accepted. If it's bold and yellow, you haven't. So it's kind of helpful. Be sure and check your My Schedule in case you haven't seen something you're scheduled for. Because if you are nested down in some way far away subfolder, you might miss some details. But this is kind of how it's all laid out for us. So then, let's just go into this service that's coming up this weekend. So on the 11th, and we'll take a look at the actual service flow views. So this is the biggest part that's different between mobile and iOS, mobile and the web. So when we're prepping, we do everything on the website version because it's just a little bit easier to see. Like you guys can kind of see, there's a lot of detail on there. It's very, very tiny. But on the right, you'll see all your service time, or you're left to see the service times, rehearsal times, who's scheduled for what. At the bottom, there's announcements and notes. At the top bar, I've got options for just different views of things. on the side, there's the columns that show me like the actual like attachments and all that stuff. All that's, at a glance really, really easy on the web version. On mobile, a lot of that stuff, for example, song notes, you have to actually tap on the song, tap the notes tab, or you tap the download tab or whatever, and it's a little bit harder to see all that information. So that's why we recommend taking a look at the website. Even though computers are old school, iPads are way cooler, it is a little bit easier to see all that stuff at a glance. So basically, there's a couple important things, and these are kind of tips and tricks that we use to kind of help, let me see. No, don't move stuff around. I may have just inadvertently redone the service plan, but whatever. So I'll fix that. No, I left it there. That's good. Okay. There's a couple tricks I wanted to show you guys. There's this little blue icon. I don't know if you can see it on the header bar on the far right. That one will allow you to show different versions of notes and stuff right in the main screen. So you know how it says notes categories just popped up? If I check stuff like BPM of the song, let me check that. Come friend. Let me zoom in. Sorry. So check song BPM. I'm going to check also my mix instrumentation notes. That changes the view of the screen. So that actually you kind of see there now it says main stage, piano and organ, mix acoustic and whatever, practice the other stuff. And the BPM showed up on the sidebar. So you can pull up, specific notes for you in that view and see them all at a glance, which is really nice. The other thing that's kind of nice, and I want you guys to notice, is that we put in notes for you guys for how to approach gang vocals, what parts are, in each song. I'm going to click on a song just to kind of pull up the details on that one. It might not work super well on mobile. Okay, well, it's acting kind of funky, sorry. There we go. That's better. I am using a screen on an iPad, so it's not exactly right, but, it's not even gonna let me do that. Okay, whatever. If you click on a song, you can see, we put the notes for everything from like how the cameras are to be directed during a song to like the different guitar parts that the guitarist will have to learn if there's anything specific that pokes out. We really want you guys to be prepared. So be sure to be looking at that stuff because there's helpful hints on that stuff. Like, if there's like an ooh part that's not in the recording, but we want you to know, we'll make a note. Listen to the bridge, piano part for the oohs on vocals or whatever. That stuff will be noted in there. That way when you show up, you know what's going on. So the other thing that's helpful is from this view, over here on the sidebar, there's a gray square and there's a yellow square. So the gray square, I'm going to click it or hover over higher up. That's attachments for the song. So that little pop-up window that showed up there in the very corner, that's where you'll find all your MP3s to listen to and all that stuff for each individual song. And then the next one over is notes. So at a glance, you can see lighting, sequence, welcome. So lighting guy is going to go to the welcome sequence there. On the first song, it shows mixer instrumentation, how to do vocals, a reminder to be singing during every chorus and throughout the bridge, and specifically during turnarounds with the guitars. So all that stuff's in there to kind of help make things easier when you guys are practicing. So that's where all that is on the web version. On the iOS version, you tap on the item, and then there's different kind of sub-tabs there. You can see all that same stuff. Okay, so then the other thing that's important to know is the very on the sidebar here, and then also if you are on the mobile, this is on the main view of the set, and then there's one that's called Notes, is where service details and attachments live. And that's, let's see if I can scroll down here. So down here you'll see on the sidebar it says attachments, and then underneath that it says stage plot, and then above that it says announcements. It actually has all the announcement notes in there, which you guys probably don't care too much about. But if there was specific notes on dress code, on, if you're leading and you want to know what the pastor's speaking on, that's going to be down in there. Stage plot, if you are a prepared person, you want to know who you're standing next to so you can emotionally prepare for the gravity of having to stand next to somebody. That's in the stage plot, So all that stuff's all there. So that's kind of the at a glance, everything there is to know about how we use Planning Center for our services. And a lot of stuff you might not use all the time, but we want you to know how we use it so that you guys have the information. So there's one other thing that's super important, and that is there's two other things that are super important. I'll be as quick as I can. So there's songs, obviously, are in Planning Center. And the way we organize our songs is different than the way a lot of other people organize their songs. And we organize them very organizedly. And the reason for that is that there are so many people using our Planning Center that we have to be real decisive about how we structure stuff. So you notice every song has about 35 arrangements, and each of those arrangements have keys. So the ones that you'll want to be familiar with for rehearsal or for use on this stage are going to be the abbreviated version, the default arrangement, and then reprise and communion arrangements. So those are the special ones. Those ones are pretty simple, but then the abbreviated arrangement is the one we're almost always going to use that one on Sunday mornings. And Wednesdays, we're almost always going to use the full arrangement. So those are the kind of things we do here, and those are the ones we want you to be familiar with. And the important thing is to at least listen to the main recording, because we do cut a lot of stuff and readjust stuff for how it works best live. So we don't want you guys to get caught, trying to do another repeat of something or waiting an extra measure on something or whatever. Or maybe there is an extra measure we threw in because it works better for the live piece. So we want you guys to be familiar with that. So in other ministries, if there is a version that is specific to a ministry, that will also be listed under the arrangement. So, United for us has a lot of different versions. We sometimes will have Tuesday night or young adults arrangements for things. And every arrangement and every version and key can have a different attachment. So, there might be a completely different version of a song by a completely different artist for a different group. So, for example, we might have the main version of The Stand. We just recently switched over to the Young and Freeze version. But Youth has been doing Young and Freeze version of The Stand for, ever, So that kind of stuff will kind of catch you up if you're not familiar that there might be different recordings. So charts and lyrics are stored in an arrangement, so be sure and click the right arrangement for that reason. Otherwise, you might get a little bit lost. We've had people practice the wrong arrangements of songs, or we've changed it and sent out a note, and they didn't see that note in the email, that they needed to look at the different arrangement. So that's why a lot of times I recommend practicing from the main view, because it'll only show the arrangements that are applicable to that view. If you go into the song view, you can see everything, so it's more likely that you can get lost. So that's the big deal with songs. If you have any questions, be sure to let us know. The last thing I want to talk about is our profile. So Planning Center is awesome, and it allows us to coordinate everything from our check-ins and our email lists and all that stuff that we use for a church. It's really powerful. But all that only works if my profile is correct. So I'm going to go to the sidebar, click on my name, and then you can see I'm really bad at confirming from the homepage. I have 4 outstanding confirmations I need to take care of. Sorry, Mikey. But then you can see all the times I'm scheduled. You can see all the teams that I'm a part of which there are a lot, apparently. I need to simplify my role a little bit here. But then you can also see at the top, you've got your email and phone number. Make sure that stuff's accurate, because if it's not, we try to get a hold of you, and with rare occasions, I know with you, for some reason, you weren't getting emails at all, and we're trying to work that out. But a lot of times what will happen is that the wrong email will end up in our system because it's been pulled in from a connection card you filled out 6 months ago or something weird like that. So if you're not hearing from us, take a look at that stuff first. So then the second tab is scheduling, and that shows you, the first tab, scheduling, shows you all that stuff. The second one's communications. So that one's nice. If you got an email from us, or we say you got an email from us and you didn't see it, and it didn't come across, you can take a look at communication tab. That shows you all the emails you've been sent. It shows you your text mobile information. If you lost your password, which is weird if you lost your password but can see the screen. But anyway, all that stuff is all in communications. And then details. You'll probably not need to deal with the details tab altogether that often, but it shows you your permissions, it shows you your home folder, so if for some reason every time you log into Planning Center it takes you to some weird ministry page that you have no idea what it is, you can actually tell it where you want to go under this home folder option down there. So that's kind of a pretty huge overview of Planning Center, and I know there's a lot of stuff we covered. I just wanted you guys to see it all at a glance and know all the different things. So when I'm talking about, hey, take a look at the song notes, you guys know where to look for that. So some things to remember about Planning Center. We want you guys to be looking for emails early and often, and be sure to reply and confirm as early as you can. Because a lot of times what ends up happening is that you get busy, you see it come across on your phone, I'm not going to deal with it now because it's on my phone and I got stuff to do. And then you don't think about it, then 3 weeks goes by and it's a day of, and we're like, dude, what's going on, why aren't you here? And it's like, oh, I forgot. Or worse, we're like, that person's not there, we're hounding you all week, you think that we don't trust you. That's not the case. So we kind of operate on this. If you don't confirm, we kind of have to assume you're not aware you're scheduled, just to be safe, because we don't want to end up in a situation where we don't have something covered, and we don't want you guys to feel like we don't trust you. So the best thing in the world is just to be confirming, early and often, and I'm telling that to myself right now because I've got 4 outstanding confirmations I have to fill out. So it goes for everybody. And sometimes it's actually kind of funny. The people who are the most committed and most invested in ministry are the ones who are the worst at confirming because they assume that everyone knows you'll show up, or whatever. So like, everybody has this problem. It's not anybody. There's actually a song on Planning Center's website that they did because no one confirms. So, also be sure and block out dates as soon as you know them. It's really funny, by the way. Go listen to it. So be sure and block out dates as soon as you know what they are. That'll help us with the scheduling thing. Be sure to keep your info up to date. I don't think anybody is really always changing their email address, but if it does change, or if you move, or if you have a new phone, these are all things we use, not your address so much, but things we use to keep in contact with you, so make sure you're keeping it up to date. And then check the notes for every song. Like I said before, there is important info there for you guys, and we work hard to make sure that everything that's useful to you is available to you as early as it can be. But if you don't notice something, let us know, please. Because our goal is that we want to equip you guys. We, like I said before, we use the same songs and stuff repeatedly. So if there's something I can address early that'll help somebody else, that's going to help someone else for months and months and months. So we want to make sure that we're catching that stuff early, and it helps because, there's a lot of stuff in there. You guys are seeing everything from a different perspective than I do, so it helps us all. And then if you can't see something on the app, try the computer version, because a lot of times stuff's buried or in different places. There's some things like I can't actually adjust someone's permissions via the mobile app, but I can on the website, and that's gotten us into trouble before because someone thought that they had this one level of permissions. I'm like, no, it shows me this, but I didn't save it, and it's dumb. So anyway, there's things like that happen. So yeah, that's pretty much a 10,000-foot overview of everything with Planning Center, an eagle-eye 10,000-foot overview. So we officially don't have a dress code for most services. We're working on a dress code, and we have some guidelines and rules, but for the most part, we're not like, wear plaid and make sure it's got a natural tone or whatever. We don't do that for main services. But for events, like our Christmas concert, for example, we will put that stuff in the thing. So there will be an attachment that says, if there's any special attachments for that service, like a rehearsal schedule or things like that, and then in there would be your dress code notes, and we try to keep it high level, dress like it's a Christmas party you'd go to with your family. Make sure you're not wearing open-toed sandals because some people do that on Christmas. But there's those kind of notes we're gonna have that attached there. So, but for the most part, if there's a policy, we make sure you guys know about it. So it's not like we're using that to communicate policy. It's more reminders and stuff for everybody. If that answers your question.
And of course, any questions, not just Planning Center, but just overall, in case that wasn't clear.
You don't have to wear certain attire to rehearse at home. You can wear whatever you want to. For rehearsal here, that's a little bit more restricted, but at home, there's no rehearsal dress code. Unless your wife or husband has one for you.